Welcome into the garage area. This is our Texas recap show. Oh, wait. Did I jump to the review? This must be Denny Hamlin's show. This is our Martinsville weekend recap where Denny Hamlin did not end up winning, even though it looked like he had a shot at it at one point. Instead, it was actually one of those cheating Hendrick Motorsports drivers that got the win. My pick this week, William Byron. I totally forgot about it being the Ruby Red race cars this week, because if I'd known that, I'd have picked anybody from Hendrick Motorsports and just top to bottom. And they pretty much did that. They finished 1, 2, 3 with Byron,
Larson,
and
Elliott.
Okay, I wasn't sure which one finished second and third for a second. And of course, that hack Alex Bowman ended up finishing 8th instead of rounding out the top 4 for them. But you knew that the Hendrick cars were going to be good because it's Martinsville. They were running a special scheme, and of course, they had to end up winning this race. So much so, Rick was so confident that he didn't even bother showing up to the racetrack. Well, now that we got all that out of the way, Ryan, you had Martin Truex Jr. this week.
Yeah.
He ended up finishing
18th.
Kind of gambled on pit strategy there at the end, which is what got him behind.
Yeah, I think even earlier pit strategy is what put him behind, because he pitted when a lot of other cars did not.
Yeah.
Just, I think, maybe more of trying to figure out a handling issue, because even in the beginning of the race, he started top 5. He was running in the top 10, and then he just kept fading. He couldn't turn the car, so a pit strategy at the end there, he just couldn't pass, which is kind of the theme of the race. But
yeah. Does it seem to you the same way it does to me that Truex always ends up on some sort of alternative pit strategy?
I don't pay enough attention to him to know. So.
It seems like that to me. I don't know if that's actually true or not. Maybe I'm making stuff up in my head. But my pick, William Byron, ended up winning the race. And how many race winners have we picked now this year? Do you know? A lot.
6 something? I don't know.
I don't even know what race this is as far as number goes.
7th race. So we didn't pick 6, but I don't think.
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5 was 7
between
the two of us.
Yeah, not bad. That's pretty impressive. We really probably should start some sort of a sports book or something like that and start winning a little bit of money on these races, because it seems like we're able to pick them for sure. I really don't have a ton to talk about from the Cup race. It was all about Hendrick Motorsports. They stayed up front all day. Like I said, Denny Hamlin looked like he was going to be up there and contend for a little bit. Bubba Wallace was fast. But that was about it. Like, there was really nobody else that went up there and challenged. I know that Logano led for a little bit, but that was a 2-tire strategy to put him out front.
Yeah, with him being on 2 tires, I feel like he stayed out in front longer than he even should have.
Oh, I agree.
So, I mean, it's just so much of track position is what mattered. And Byron, with the new tires and that lap and a half, is really what put him up front.
Yeah.
So, after that happened, I mean, there wasn't no catching him. I mean,
no.
It was all dependent on that final caution and how rough they were going to get with each other. But with these cars, you can pretty much drive through everybody and not wreck. So
yeah.
Which I don't think they should be wrecking, but you see Chase Elliott gave him the bumper, and they made the comments that any other car that would have moved him out of the way. So they need less grip.
Yeah, I agree.
More horsepower or all of the above or something.
Yes, for sure. Only 5 cautions in the race, 2 of which were stage breaks.
Yeah.
So only 3 real cautions in the race, and none of those were very severe.
Yeah.
One was for debris with Christopher Bell. I'm not sure what the second one was. It was the beginning.
Christopher Bell spun again.
That's the beginning of stage 2?
Yeah.
Okay. And then John Hunter Nemechek losing a tire there with just a couple laps to go. It seems to me like every time Fox puts up that caution light on the screen, did you see that with like the laps were counting down with like 12 to go or so, and it was probably 4 laps left, and they put the caution light on the screen next to the pylon.
I've seen it before, but
I saw it pop up this time, and I was like, well, the only thing that would keep Byron from winning this race, which at that point, I was like, I hope Byron does win this race. It's clearly going to be a Hendrick driver. I hope it's my pick.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see that caution light light up. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
But it ultimately made no difference, which I'm okay with.
As a Hendrick fan, I was hoping for that 1, 2, 3 finish. They talked about never happened at Martinsville for a team. And like I was like, all right, just go green finish, even though I'm a Chase Elliott fan, but then the restart, I'm like, I just hope they don't pile each other out like Gordon and Johnson did back in the day or whatever. So
yeah,
I don't remember what year that was, but that was.
I don't remember either. I do remember what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Though. Them two guys, they had it in for each other there for a short period of time. Yeah, it didn't seem like there was anything really standoutish about this race at all. Like you said, they couldn't pass. Track position was a huge factor, and the Hendrick cars kept it up front all day. You didn't really see anybody come and go. Any changing of running order pretty much happened through pit cycles.
Yeah, other than maybe Byron started 18th and he worked himself up into the top 10. He was about the only car that really could do anything. But once he got up to like 7th or 8th or something, once the cars evened out, even then he had trouble.
Yeah.
So, it's like these leaders get to the lap traffic and stuff, and they can't get through lap traffic. They're stuck behind cars lap after lap. It takes them 5 to 10 laps to get around one guy.
Yeah.
You should be able to just like get a nose under them and scoot by them. So
yeah, I agree. It looks like Kyle Larson ended up leading the most laps out of this race, for 86 of them. Joey Logano actually led 83. Denny Hamlin led 24, and Chase Elliott led 59 of them. In fact, it looks like Larson and Byron tied with the most laps led at 86.
Yeah. I knew all total Hendrick Motorsports led over 200 of the.
Yeah,
I remember them saying that on the podcast.
They kept those cars out front a lot. Let's look at the point standings. Tell me what were the point standings after last week's race for the Cup Series?
That was
just give me the top 5.
Top 5: Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Ty Gibbs, and Ryan Blaney.
Okay. This week we've seen Larson retake the lead with his good finish and Truex's poor finish. It is Truex second, Hamlin third, tied for fourth would be Byron and Blaney, and Chase Elliott would be in ultimately sixth.
Yeah.
Logano actually, with his past 2-week performances, I know that you were probably pretty concerned about where he was running in the standings. I know I was. He ended up back up in 14th now, and Kyle Busch is in 15th. So both of those guys that kind of had some rough starts to the season are actually back in playoff contention right now. I didn't really have a whole lot of doubt that would happen, but pretty impressive either way.
I thought Kyle ran in the top 10 for a lot of part of the day around that area, but then I just remember him being lapped down at the end.
Yeah, that's probably the first time that I even took note of Kyle Busch where he was running, and just because I saw him on the screen by the leaders, and then I saw that he was running where he was, which looks like he ended up finishing 16th. And yeah, I mean that's not a terrible day, but that's definitely not where he would like to be running by any means. I'm just looking through the running order here, and there's really not any true standouts. I don't think. I mean, Chase Briscoe and Ryan Preece in 9th and 10th, but you kind of expect those guys to run fairly well at Martinsville.
Yeah. I mean, Denny Hamlin on that late pit stop, whatever, he was running 4th.
Yeah.
And then he's about the only one that put tires on,
yeah.
maybe another guy, and he ended up 11th. So
that's
kind of disappointing. Not to say I wanted Hamlin to finish better, but I remember coming home from school or something, and he pitted with only a few laps to go at Martinsville that one year, and it was a Monday race, and someone in the booth said, I'll come down and visit him in Victory Lane if he wins this race. And he, from like 10th, and he came back and won the race with only a few laps to go because of his tires.
Wow.
So, I mean, I just kind of missed the old days, maybe.
I was going to say, I don't recall that race, but that's a race where tires mattered. And horsepower let you knock tire or wear off the cars.
It was one of those days I came home from school and you were out there waiting to tell me about it because it was a Monday race. So that was I vividly remember that.
That's weird. Some of those ones that really stick with you. The other note that I guess I would say is that Eric Jones finished 12th. That's a good run for that car. Todd Gilliland was once again a factor for part of the day and ended up finishing 13th. Chris Buescher, who is somebody that I thought would run well, did not. Brad Keselowski, Buescher finished 15th. Brad Keselowski, his teammate, finished 24th. Josh Berry was somebody that Dale Jr. mentioned this week would be a dark horse driver.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like I would have known it had Kevin Harvick not said so, but they just kept having slow pit stop after slow pit stop.
Yeah.
And kept getting further behind.
I would say, like, when he was running well in the top 10, like the first stage anyways, so yeah, it was, once you get behind, it's just so hard to make up positions.
Yeah, I agree.
And everybody's driving the same car now, so
yeah.
The only thing that's different is maybe their engines. That's about it. So,
well, we're recording this on Sunday night. The good race poll from Jeff Gluck is not out yet, but if you were going to vote yes or no, what would you say?
If I based it on the racing product, I'd say no.
Okay.
But it's hard to be unbiased when you're a Hendrick fan with how it turned out. So hopefully that's an honest answer. So.
Yeah. I am not having any trouble being unbiased toward Hendrick Motorsports. Well, maybe I am having trouble because I don't like them. But it's no problem for me to judge this on just racing product.
Yeah.
And I even said to myself, as I was watching this race and Joey Logano was leading, I was like, I do not like this racing. And my driver was leading the race.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm definitely voting no. It was not a good race. And it literally is just inability to pass. When faster cars cannot go forward, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And I'm so tired of the discussion of tires and horsepower and grip and shifting and all that stuff. It's all a factor. Fix it. That's all. That's it.
Yeah. They want to save teams money, but
that's such a ridiculous argument. Brad Keselowski has talked about it. Denny Hamlin's talked about it. The saving teams money is a stupid approach. It's just verbiage at this point that means nothing.
I remember, like we were talking about last week, how the similar product, that I watched. It was a qualifying run. I think it was Mark Martin when he drove the 55 for Michael Waltrip Racing, and just hearing that car scream down the racetrack and just him driving it through the corner and stuff. It just watching the qualifying seemed better than some of the racing that was going on today. So it just, I don't know why there's no horsepower in these cars. I mean, these are supposed to be the greatest drivers in the world. Give them the biggest tires and the lowest horsepower, and just they all have the same grip level.
Yep. But we hear every week that the Xfinity race is better than the Cup race. Did you think that was the case?
I'd say so. I feel like tires mattered more. I did some of the way the drivers and stuff raced, and I don't know if we'll talk about it later, but how I felt like it was weird how Sheldon Creed was just smashing on his teammates, and I hate how they all tried to dive bomb each other and make it through wide all the time and stuff, but I just feel like the car product itself is better.
I would probably agree with that. When I was watching the Xfinity race, I thought to myself, boy, the Cup race tomorrow is going to have to be pretty bad to be worse than this. And looking back on that was largely driver reflective and not car reflective.
Yeah.
But I would say it definitely did beat it out for being worse.
Yeah.
I'm ready to transition to the Xfinity race if you are.
Yeah. Sure.
We talked about the boring Cup race at Martinsville, but the Xfinity race had a little bit of action there at the end of it. Eric Almirola ended up getting the win. There were 11 cautions in this one, including the stage breaks, for 68 total laps. 15 lead changes according to Racing Reference. Eric Almirola gets the win. Sam Mayer finishes second. Chandler Smith beating and banging his way to third place. Carson Kvapil, a standout for the day, I would say, making his first Xfinity Series start in the JRM 88. He ended up finishing fourth. Really good day for him, and they kept getting him behind on pit strategy.
Yeah.
Not on pit strategy, just on pit road with bad pit stops.
One thing I noticed with him, he was real patient.
Yeah.
Like I feel like at one time he was running behind Allgaier and just kind of learning, which was a good guy to learn off of at Martinsville. And
yeah.
It felt like his car was better at the end of runs. The tires would wear off the guy who's running hard, and then at the end of runs, or he would start moving up through the field, and then he'd get behind, and then he'd be patient, and he always stayed on the bottom and just chugged his way up there.
Yeah.
And of course, I think he was like 6 on that final restart, and then when Sheldon Creed tried shoving it through wide, and then all that position changed, and he swooped around the outside and grabbed a couple positions there. So
yeah. You mentioned Justin Allgaier. He also was somebody that had a good run, bringing it home top 5. And again, all of the JRM cars kept getting behind on pit road, and he ended up coming back for a top 5 as well. You mentioned Sheldon Creed. Certainly bulldozed his way up there into 6th place as well, and got bulldozed back a little bit too, because he actually was running higher than that. Sammy Smith, Cole Custer, Jesse Love, and Josh Williams. They round out the top 10. If you're looking for Shane Van Gisbergen, you can find him in 11th. And
did you see the little spat between Shane and Jeb Burton?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, there was. I don't know. Jeb Burton shoved Shane out of the way one time.
I saw that.
Gisbergen, I don't remember how many positions he fell. It was quite a bit. I want to say like 10 positions.
Mm-hmm. I saw him get back to him and move him.
Move him, yeah. That was. I just thought that was interesting,
Oh, they didn't have a verbal spat.
No, not.
Okay.
No. Just it's kind of the on-track action.
I gotcha. Yeah, no, I did see that. They shoved each other around, and good for Shane. I mean, that's how you got to race here in this sport, and it's unfortunate that that's what this is now, but that is how you have to do it, and I think he's adapting really well.
Well, I was to say in his supercars over there, you can't run like that and stuff, and I feel like he's having a blast being able to move people out of the way. What he did at Coda back to Austin Hill in the final corners there, it was. I think he was having. You can see a smile on his face after that, even though he lost the race.
No, I agree. I think that he's. I got a lot of hope for him to be a good race car driver in NASCAR.
Yeah.
He's not like some of the other guys that have come over from other series that you're just waiting for their sponsorship deals to be up for them to move off into the sunset. Yeah. I feel like Shane's going to be here for a little while. I think he's got talent. Do you have the point standings from the last Xfinity Series race?
Chandler Smith, Austin Hill, Cole Custer, Jesse Love, Riley Herbst.
Okay. This week it's Chandler Smith. Cole Custer moves up above Austin Hill, who falls to 3rd. Jesse Love and Justin Allgaier takes over 5th from Riley Herbst. Not a whole lot of changes there, but just some of the top 5 moving back and forth a little bit. As far as guys that led a lot of laps today, it looks like Eric Almirola led the most with 46, and it looks like Justin Allgaier also led Sammy Smith actually led the second most with 42. Yeah. And Eric Almirola led 38. I'm sorry. Okay. The sheet that I'm looking at here is giving me who led for different stints of the race rather than all at one time. Almirola looks like he led a total of 148 laps. That's better.
That makes more sense. Okay. I thought he led more than that.
And then Sammy Smith did lead 42 laps. He was the only other driver that looked like he had it out front for any period of time. Yeah. Almirola, I don't know how you feel about him going to JGR and doing what he's doing in the Xfinity Series. I wasn't really pulling for him, but I wanted to see him win over any of the other Gibbs cars.
Yeah.
He ends up winning the Dash for Cash as well. Chandler Smith really rubbed me the wrong way in this race. All of the other JGR cars did.
Yeah.
In fact, at the end of that race, Almirola was going to win it walking away with, 18 to go or something, and there was a caution that came out. And when they went to restart and Almirola picked the top, I said to myself, this is the reason this guy did not win races in the Cup Series, because he makes these stupid decisions.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out well. He got past, and I think he fell as far back as 3rd. I think Mayer snuck through there as well. But he did not retain the lead. And then they had another caution come out, and they racked him up and started again. And this time, when he had the opportunity to restart, he got behind Chandler Smith and just sent him right out of the road and went back to the lead. He almost seemed to be a little bit annoyed with Chandler after the race, said that his teammate used him up and he used him right back in his post-race there. So I feel like he did exactly what he should have done.
I think all the JGR cars were using each other up.
Oh, Sheldon Creed.
Yeah.
Like you said before, absolute. Honestly, I think that Xfinity is a great sponsor in everything that they do, and I wouldn't want to see them go away as the title sponsor for that series, but it needs to be like John Deere or Caterpillar, and instead of yellow back bumpers, they need to put a yellow blade on the front bumper, some sort of decal up there to show what kind of bulldozer all these guys are racing, because that's all these guys do.
Yeah.
And it's in the Truck Series, it's in the Xfinity Series, and somehow they beat it out of them in the Cup Series when they finally get there.
Yeah.
But it used to be for sure in the Truck Series and kind of mixed in with certain drivers in the Xfinity Series. Now it just seems like it's with everybody in the Xfinity Series, and you're starting to creep into Cup a little bit. And I don't like that. Need to get that out of there. Want to see that change for sure. That was probably the most exciting part of the Xfinity Series race. JRM cars did seem to control the majority of it, and I know that Almirola was out front a lot, but I'm saying that the JGR cars were up front for the majority of the race in the first two stages. And then that final pit stop with the last 70 laps or so, it just seemed like they all went to the back. They all had bad pit stops at the same time.
Yeah, some of the, I think a couple of them had bad restarts too and stuff also.
Yeah.
The one thing, good thing for JRM there, Sam Mayer finishing second. It's a big rebound from a rough year he's had, because I feel like he's wrecked out of three or four races.
I haven't paid that close attention to Sam. I know that you follow that team pretty closely, so that's good for him.
I mean, he's 16th in the standings right now.
Is it really that far down? It's somebody that I would expect to be a lot higher than that, for sure.
Is it the top 12 for the Xfinity Series for the
I think that's true, but I don't know that for sure.
I think it's 10 in the trucks. So
okay.
I mean, right now Sam Mayer is like 4 positions out, so for points anyway. So I mean,
yeah, I'm sure he'll make that up at some point. He's got too good equipment, and he's too good a race car driver to.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing: Are you as a JRM fan over Brandon Jones?
Yeah, I mean,
you remember when, who was it, drove the one car for forever? Michael Annett.
Yeah.
Do you feel like he's fallen into that category of like he can win here and there, but he's not going to be as fast as his teammates?
That's kind of what I see it as right now. But he's got the Menards.
Yeah.
And that team seems to be loyal to a driver and puts them in cars. So.
It does seem that way. You think of Matt Crafton in the Truck Series for how many years they've sponsored him?
Paul Menard.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, they're gonna probably stay pretty loyal to Paul.
But he won one race on a fuel strategy. That's all Paul's ever got.
Yeah,
of course, it was a big one, but
Brickyard race. Yeah, that's I can't believe it. Menards has stuck with him that long. Anything else from the Xfinity race you wanted to talk about?
I think that's all I got.
All right. Truck race, to me, I didn't even watch the entire thing. I watched part of it, and it was just so dominated by Christian Eckes that I was like, I'm not even interested. And he ended up getting the win. He got it in dominating fashion. Ty Majeski ended up finishing second. Chase Purdy third. Nick Sanchez fourth. Tyler Ankrum fifth. A real wreckfest of a race. 11 cautions for 81 laps in that one. And ironically, only 5 lead changes. I don't usually note the lead changes, but I thought that was interesting in that one. What were the point standings coming into this race?
Corey Heim, Ty Majeski, Tyler Ankrum, Roger Caruth, and Christian Eckes.
Okay. It looks like Heim and Caruth fell a little bit because we got, after this race, we have Ty Majeski, Tyler Ankrum, Corey Heim, Christian Eckes, and Rasha Caruth. Nick Sanchez is also tied with him for 5th as well. So, yeah, they're not a ton of changes, but as you would kind of expect, it's kind of some ebb and flow in the Truck Series at this point. Yeah, I really don't have a whole lot to even say about this particular race. I mean, they wrecked a lot of trucks.
Yeah, that's...
Beat on guys a ton. And the 19 kept it out front for the majority of the evening.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a different pit strategy, which was kind of... It was neat to see how he was able to come back to the front, because when everyone pitted at after stage 1, didn't pit the rest of the race, where he stayed out of stage 1 and won stage 2 and then pitted, so he had to come back to the field from those who pitted in stage 1, or various cautions in between that point. So he had a fast truck, came back and won the race pretty convincingly. So
yeah, he dominated the entire thing, winning both stages and the race. So do trucks go to Texas next week? It's a triple header.
I think so.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think everybody's going to Texas. We haven't really talked about it. We won't make these locked in to be our official picks, but being that I won and you get to pick first, who is a driver that you're looking at for Texas? Anybody come to mind right off the top of your head?
I'm trying to think of. I mean, Kyle Larson's mile-and-a-half driver. I mean, it's kind of just the same guys. You know, William Byron can win there.
Yeah, that's true.
You can see Reddick or Hamlin because I feel like they contend. I'm just kind of thinking of the Las Vegas drivers because I know Reddick and Larson. Those were kind of my preliminary things. I'd have to go back and see who ran well there before.
I can't even think of a driver who is I can't even think of a race at Texas where somebody won outside of Ryan Blaney in the All-Star race holding his window net up. It's the only thing that comes to my mind when I think of Texas right now.
Yeah.
Other than races from 10 years ago. But we'll get back on that and figure out drivers that we think are going to be competitive at Texas a little later on in the week. Do you think that if the tires wear this week that this will be watchable? Because I don't feel like I'm really interested in this race at all.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to get past Texas.
Yeah, I'm kind of a wait and see guy, but I'm not expecting much.
Yeah, I'm not either.
It's always seemed like it's a bottom lane groove, especially 1 and 2. And they try to put the resin or PJ1 stuff on the upper grooves, and they can't run up there at the beginning to work it in, and it just never ends up being anything. So
it's tough to see Texas's fall from grace. It's tough to see what really has happened to Martinsville as well, with the type of racing that we used to see there. Used to be a looked forward to racetrack for me, and it really has not become that anymore. But you're going to have racetracks like that. You're going to have races like that throughout the schedule, and that's just kind of what we're in the middle of at this particular moment. So again, truck race winner Christian Eckes, Xfinity Series winner Eric Almirola, and the Dash for Cash winner William Byron and his cheated up Hendrick car. They ended up winning the race. Hendrick finishes 1, 2, 3, and that's all I got from Martinsville. Anything else you want to talk about?
That's all I got.
All right. Thank you guys, as always, for watching, listening. Make sure you continue to subscribe, like, comment, share. Do all the great stuff for us. We really appreciate it. Follow us on X, Instagram, and YouTube, all at The Garage Area, and we really appreciate it. See you guys next week.